Hi, this is Kathy Grady, and today we're having a conversation with someone very well known in Longmeadow, Saul Finestone. Hi,
Hello.
Saul.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm glad to be here with you.
I'm so happy you're here.
It's been a long time since I've been together with you, but
Right.
you bring back memories.
Yeah. So we're going to like to talk about how you got here. Like, where were you born, and where were you in the family, and...
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. I was born in Boston, St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Brighton, the Brighton part of Boston, but I grew up in Dorchester.
Dorchester.
And I came from Dorchester. Following World War II, I came to Springfield and then moved to Longmeadow.
Wait a minute, how old were you when you came to Springfield? Why'd you come to Springfield?
I came to Springfield because I had a job to teach in Connecticut.
Okay, you really
It's
skipped
weird.
over
I did. I was
a whole
hired
bunch of
to
stuff.
teach in Connecticut and lived in Springfield and commuted from Springfield to South
Were you
Windsor,
in the
Connecticut.
war?
I was in World War II, yes.
As?
Well, I was in the United States Navy, of course. I mean, United States Navy,
Yeah,
of course. And I spent 2 years and 3 months. I went in towards the end of the war. I was 17 years old.
You were young.
Yeah. Well, my friends who were older than me joined up, and I was one of the last of my really close friends that entered the war. And I spent a little time in the Pacific on a converted battle damage repair ship. It was a converted LST, which is a landing ship. But we were situated in Wetuck, in the Marshall Islands, and ships were coming to us. That wasn't what the ships were built for. It was an ARB. It was the fourth ship in the fleet. It was supposed to go into an invasion, drop a hook, and make temporary repairs. And ARB-1 got blown up. So.
And what were you on?
No, I was on ARB-4.
Huh.
That was meant why we did not do that anymore. We weren't very armored. So that was the extent of my military experience.
But you were in 2 years?
I was in a little over 2 years. I spent a year on that ship. And when I came back, it was after the...
So was your whole deployment...
No, actually, you have to go through basic training, and I was on the Atlantic seaboard for a while, and then I picked up this ship in Texas. It's a whole... That's the way the military works. They shift you around sometime. Yeah, so I didn't spend the whole year out in the Pacific. I mean, the whole 2 year.
Right, I get it.
Just that 1 year excursion. But that was before World War II. When I came back, I went to Suffolk University for a couple of years.
The GI Bill helped, right?
Pardon me?
The GI Bill helped that?
Yes, of course. The GI Bill helped a lot of people, and
Right, when they came back from the war, they were encouraged to go to college, right?
I probably wouldn't have gone to college if not for that. But
why? What did your father do?
my father was an immigrant. My mother was an immigrant. They both were from Russia. My father was what is now Poland, and my mother was from what is now Lithuania. They came to America, got married, had 4 children. I'm the second of them. And I'm the only one of the children that actually went to graduated from a 4-year college. And I had 2 younger ones than me, too. I went to Suffolk University, transferred to St. Anselm's College, which is where I graduated.
Oh, St. Anselm's, yeah.
St. Anselm's College in Manchester, New Hampshire. Kind of weird. St. Elizabeth, St. Anselm's, and I was born a Jewish boy.
A nice Jewish boy, but...
A nice Jewish boy.
Yeah, so, okay, you can come to Springfield now.
So I'm in Springfield. I lived in Springfield for a couple
Oh,
of
wait a minute. Did you tell why you came to Springfield?
I came to Springfield because I had a job in Connecticut, a teaching job. I was hired to be a teacher. I went to State Teachers College in Boston after I graduated St. Anselm's and got my master's degree in that. That was a former normal school. It became a State Teachers College. It became Boston. It was Boston City College. Boston.
And so they found you, or how did you?
Well, I got a job. I applied for a job in Connecticut, and I got a job in Connecticut. But I came to Springfield, and the rents were high in Connecticut. One wasn't prepared to buy a home. I had a young family. I had 2 children at that time.
Oh, we went really fast. Okay.
Yeah, but don't forget, I did get married.
Okay.
In the interim. I even went to law school for 1 year, and then I got married and dropped the law school and went back to Teachers College. That's what it was. And I taught in South Windsor, Connecticut for 33 years.
While living
First in Springfield and then moved to this lovely community in mid-1960s. And my children graduated, all 3 of them, from Longmeadow High School. So one of them was in elementary school, one of them was in middle school, and one of them was in the 9th grade at the high school when we moved to Longmeadow.
did you move for the schools or to be closer to your work, or?
No, I didn't move any. No, I moved to Longmeadow. We were renting in Springfield.
And you could buy.
And we bought a house in Longmeadow on Frank Smith Road. And
Really?
Been there all the time since the 60s.
Wow.
Early, mid-60s, I forget, 63 maybe, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and from there, I set up a career. I mean, you, Kathy, know that I've been politically active almost all the time that I've been in, almost from the very beginning.
So you were commuting to teaching in Connecticut.
Correct.
How far was that?
Oh, it's this side of Hartford,
Oh.
and it was a 30-minute ride. I mean, some people traveled farther
Yeah.
to work than
Okay, not so
I
bad.
did.
So you did that, and you had all the kids, and
And what? I'm sorry.
you had the kids, and with all of that.
and they all went off to college, and
Was that when you started being active?
no.
Oh, no, of course not.
No.
Right away.
Well, you might say I really started when I was young living in Dorchester, and when somebody asked me to help his uncle who was running for state rep.
Oh, yeah?
So what I did was, I was, I don't know, 12 years old, who knows. I would put these little flyers, circulars, and put them in mailboxes. That was my first venture into politics. But then when I came to Longmeadow, you're probably happy to know that I joined the Democratic Town Committee. The first time I voted, I wasn't a Democrat. I thought it was a chic thing to do was to be independent. But I voted mostly Democratic, and eventually practically all Democratic. I might as well join the party.
Yes.
And that's what I did, and here I am.
Still.
Yeah, so I am still. I've been a member of the Democratic Town Committee, and have been on the executive board almost all the time that I've lived in Longmeadow. In the beginning, no. When we started out, we were probably when I first joined, there were about maybe 8 or 9 members. But now we have at least we are entitled to 35 elected members, and we have many associate members.
Wow.
Many. And we meet every month and have all kinds of programs. But this is a nonpartisan town, but we still have, the Republican Party has its committee, and the Democrats have our committee. Yeah, and so that's my political life.
Yes.
And I've been active with, I'm very close to Eric Lesser, our senator, who hopefully will be, in my opinion, a very good lieutenant governor.
In Massachusetts.
I met him when he was in the 9th grade here at Longmeadow High School, and I was a facilitator of a program that the 9th graders were involved in at Sinai Temple. It was actually a group that met with Alden Baptist Church young members. There were two members who were two of us who were facilitators, and obviously we would exchange 1 month. No, we did it weekly. 1 week, I think it was probably bi-weekly. One time we'd meet at Sinai, the next time we'd meet at Alden Baptist, and he hopped into my car, Eric Lesser did.
Yeah. By accident?
He what?
By accident?
No.
Oh.
He came into my car when we were, yeah, he
you were
deliberately
driving the kids.
came into my car when there were two cars,
Yeah, okay.
driving them to Alden Baptist. And the reason he got into my car is he saw the bumper stickers, and he aligned with much of them. And there was a 9th grader that was the most articulate, up to date on things that I could recall as a 9th grader. I never even thought about things like the death penalty. He was talking about his position on it. And I had a sticker on it being opposed to the death penalty. That's where you and I had a lot of connection.
Yes.
With the Mass Citizens Against the Death Penalty. But, and then when he received an award as a student from the Democratic Town Committee, as you may remember that, I read his, I made the introduction to the award. I had a little speech prepared for him. Funny thing about it is when he came to Longmeadow with his wife, after his journey in Washington, he married a woman from Maryland, and he wanted for me to show her that little speech that I made in the award, and I couldn't find it.
Oh.
But I found it the other day, and I brought it to his new home.
Oh, nice.
And he was so thrilled, and I assumed she was too.
Yeah.
It would have been more thrilling if she saw it when they were young and married. They're still young, but younger.
Yeah.
Okay, from there, what else do you want to know?
Okay, well, you went very fast, but very interestingly, over work. When did you retire?
I retired.
I mean, but you were, the whole time you were working, you were also
I was active
working and actively trying to change the world.
I actually did not join the Democratic Town Committee when I came right into Longmeadow. But don't forget, I lived in Springfield for a couple of years.
The 5 of them.
Yeah.
6 of them.
And actually, I lived more than 2 years in Springfield. Yeah. And I came in '55, so I actually lived about 8 years in Springfield. And I didn't think it was that long, to tell you the truth. I was active at the Jewish Community Center, and I worked with youth groups.
And you had babies.
And I had one child in Springfield. And then I was also, I became a basketball official.
Oh, right. I forgot about your basketballs.
Yeah, I refereed a lot of basketball in Springfield and the Springfield community, and some in Longmeadow. It included Longmeadow. I was active with, even when I lived in Longmeadow, I had a baseball team in Springfield that I coached for a couple of years. Happy to say that one of those years we won the we won the championship of the John L. Sullivan Pee Wee
Nice.
League.
Nice.
That was an interesting experience. What else did I do? Oh, well.
But you always did athletic things.
Yeah, and I not an, you know, I wouldn't say I was a great athlete, but I loved sports. And I'm, you know, a New Englander following the New England Patriots and the Boston Celtics and the Boston Red Sox and the Boston Bruins, and I love doing it. I played as a young amateur.
Yeah.
You know, I did that. Even as I was a little older, I was still playing softball for a while. But that kept me active. But I'm still active with the Democratic Town Committee. I was active as socially. I did a lot of dancing.
A lot of what?
A lot of dancing.
Oh, dancing?
Yeah. So, and I'm still trying to keep it up, but it's a lot tougher when I didn't tell you that I'm 95 years old.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So it's not
95?
Yeah.
Nice even number.
Yeah, and if, I just came from the optometrist, Dr. Jackowitz, and I read the bottom line when I looked through. I don't have my eyesight, thank God, is good.
Good, good.
So I'm still driving. Mm-hmm. Not as much as I used to.
Right.
And the pandemic didn't help that.
The pandemic didn't help anything.
No. But I've been active. What saved me was Zoom, because I continue.
Zoom, you could.
I continue going to
meetings.
Meetings, right? And if I want to involve myself in a social or political or cultural event, I can get on Zoom. And a lot of people don't like to be on Zoom, and they don't. I facilitate discussion groups.
Great.
So I've been doing that for many years. I had a I did a discussion group at the Jewish Community Center. I did one at the Senior Center when it was the center, the old center, and I still do it at the new adult center.
How often?
Once a month, but that's Zoom. We did it Zoom.
Oh, you did it Zoom?
And a lot of people who used to come don't like Zoom, so we're going to go live next month. We've been doing it monthly. I also became active, and I do want to mention that since the murder of the Floyd murder,
yes,
the Democratic Party, as a member of the executive committee, we decided to have a standout at the famous spot as you enter Longmeadow from Springfield, the Four Corners, Forest Glen, and we had a big crowd.
For what?
For the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. And there were a big crowd. I'd say about 60, 70 people were at that first session. But
really?
It was a political year, and the chair of the Democratic Political Party said, well, we can't do this every week. She wanted to be more involved with candidates, but some of us wanted to continue, and we did. And we met. This happens on Friday evenings, right now from 4 to 6, but what happened was that, I should say Friday afternoon into the evening. What happened is that we met the following Monday to plan for the second Friday, and we continued to meet for a couple of weeks, and before you know it, we formed an organization called Longmeadow Anti-Racist Coalition, LARC, L-A-R-C.
Nice.
It still exists. I am active. I'm one of the original members. We have new members. Some fell off, and they're still part of the organization but not active. We have a huge group on Facebook, but we have a small group that is trying to primarily do what we can to prevent, to clear up any racist situations that exist in Longmeadow, in the schools, in the town. within government. We're looking for more diversity, equity, and we'll seek out any opportunity that we can to work against the bad features of racism, and align with groups outside. But we're primarily a Longmeadow anti-racist group.
Wow.
And we will be starting on April 22nd from 4 to 6. It didn't start that way, but it's
4 to 6 for the standout?
For the stand-down. And we did help with the select board creating a task force. And we want to look into what's happening with the recommendations from the task force. So we're going to start getting active with that. And of course,
Are more people of color moving to Longmeadow?
well, the people of color are a very small minority in town, as I think you understand. But it's a little better, let's put it that way. And we've always, for many years since I've been in Longmeadow, we've had people bust in. And there are problems with that in terms of in terms of diversity and racism and how these people are treated. And sometimes people don't realize that they are treating minorities with racist overtones, and they don't even realize it.
Yes.
So we try
That's
to
true.
educate in that respect, so that they be. As a matter of fact, that's the last venture, which is one of the reasons for the award that I got.
That you just got.
Yeah, and I suppose we'll talk about the award in a moment.
Well, do it now.
Do it now?
And we could still talking.
Yeah, I received a most honorable award. Surprised me from the National Conference of Community and Justice. It used to be the National Conference of Christians and Jews. Obviously, not just Christians and Jews are supportive of community and justice.
Right.
So they changed the name. Well, because of the standout that I was participating in for the past 2 years occur in front of Ryan McCullum's home. And if you know Ryan McCullum,
I don't.
he's a political consultant, a young man. I've known him from Springfield a little bit, and I've known him in the fields of politics. I knew him because he was on some baseball teams and basketball teams that some of my friends, I knew him. But I spent some time talking with him after the standout, just bantering back and forth. He's biracial, and he also married a white woman. So he's biracial all the way. His child, brand new child, is biracial. So we talked about how the differences, our own experiences were. And one day he asked me if I knew about this group. He's on the board of the National Conference of Community and Justice, and he asked me if I would be willing to be an honoree. And I said, yes. We were supposed to have the meeting in Hartford at the hotel in Hartford, but it ended up being on Zoom. And it was well attended, and I have to say, I think I handled myself pretty well at that. I was one of the last of there were 7 actual people that got on the program, and 5 of us were new honorees, and I was the next to the last one. And the person,
always good to back clean up.
Yeah, well, the person, that's pretty interesting. The person that followed me was I believe his office was treasurer, elected official in Connecticut. And I must say, he kind of, it was kind of funny. Well, I don't know. He said, wow, it's tough for me to follow this all. So I'm bragging a little, but it's okay to brag.
When you're 95, you can do whatever you want.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So that was That's it. But now, I never thought I would have a new venture, a new issue, and that's the anti-racist.
Oh, yes.
And I've read, well, I always was a reader, but not like I am now. And I've read all sorts of books that have educated me in the realm of trying to become the best anti-racist I could possibly be.
Oh, Saul.
And as long as I know I don't have too many more years, but as long
You're looking
as
great.
as long as I am here, I'm going to be working on that venture, and I'm doing my best to keep the program going. Jim Moran, he knows all about it. He's on
Does
that.
he? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you have brought so much to Longmeadow with you and grown in so many ways that affects so many people who live in Longmeadow. I'm surprised I never interviewed you before.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Well, you and I worked together on a lot of some of the stuff that
Good things, yes.
we were talking
Always
about.
good
And
things.
you helped form, you were very active in helping to form the Mass Citizens Against the Death Penalty.
Absolutely.
We've had meetings in your place of business, we've had meetings in your house.
Yeah.
We even invited the person that cast the vote. He's a member of the House of Representatives who changed his vote. And the final vote was he did not want to see blood on his sleeve.
Yeah.
That was Congressman Slattery.
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
we brought him to your house. I was chair of the Mass Citizens Against the Death Penalty for almost all the time that we existed. We didn't have offices in the beginning.
Right.
I resigned briefly. I resigned thinking it was always, just about 2 years ago. And the person that took my place, he resigned, and there wasn't anybody left for me to come back. It's a small group now. It's not the necessity of the group. We're pretty safe in Massachusetts in terms
For a
of
long time.
keeping the death penalty out. But we have to still be vigilant. And the country's getting a little better in terms of keeping the death penalty out of the system of the justice system,
Yes.
keeping it out.
Yes.
Yep.
Justice.
I think I covered
You covered a lot.
most of what I do. I don't know if I've left out anything, but
Are your kids
I'm
near?
happy to live in
Are your
Longmeadow.
children still nearby?
I have a daughter that lives in Woburn.
Okay, so you could see
I
it.
have a son who now lives in Maryland, and he may be living in Florida. He's retired. And I have a son that lives with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
He has children in Virginia. He's divorced.
Yeah, yeah, I get the picture.
We're still friendly with his wife, my daughter-in-law.
That's a good way
Very
to do
friendly. And I have 3 grandchildren, all girls.
it. Well, Saul, this has been great, and I want everybody to know how much you've done for Longmeadow and the world.
Well, thank you, Kathy.
And you're a great friend, too.
Kathy and I were friends a long, long time ago. And of course, I've known you for that many years.
Yep.
And I've always been a friend of yours, even though we haven't been connected
Yeah.
since you moved to Connecticut.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this. Thank Longmeadow for sponsoring this and
My
allowing
pleasure.
it to happen, and
My
it
pleasure.
was great. Thanks.
I didn't even look in the camera once.